All right, everyone. We will go ahead and start. If anyone hops on late, this recording will be sent out. And just to remind everyone that is here already, this is going to be recorded. It will be shared so that way you can always refer back to it because we do have a lot to cover, a lot of pages to go through. So let's go ahead and start. So if you weren't here for the last webinar, which was last week's, that recording is on the Facebook group and has been emailed out. Then you might wonder what the rally is. I see a lot of familiar names on the attendee list today. So just know that the rally is an awesome fundraising event that was started by Espresso years and years ago. We're actually on the 10th year of the rally, and we're honored to be able to continue that as Blue Goji. This is just a mile tracking fundraising platform. We do not process any transactions. We simply help you track pledges. So pledges are different than a donation because it's obviously someone saying they will donate, but we don't process the transactions. So then it is on each YMCA to follow up with each supporter to make sure that the pledge is converted into a donation. And we've already made progress this past week in making that easier for you guys so that anyone that commits a pledge is more likely to follow through with that donation. So we'll get into that here in a bit. Again, it's always more than just fundraising. I try to say this every time, so sorry for repeating myself, but I have worked a decade in the past with nonprofits. I know how important fundraising events are and how it's not just about that one-time donation through an event, but how can you convert a potential supporter into a long-time donor? And that's through stories and storytelling and communicating your impact and your mission. So this event is really about engaging even your members, people that pay to come to your YMCA, to really see the mission and if they are able and willing to support on a higher level, to sponsor kids that might need to go to camp or however it is that you guys run your programs at your Y. We want to make that an easier task for you to gain supporters' hearts. And so almost $2 million has been raised over the 10 years. I'm really hoping we break that threshold this year and we cross the $2 million mark. And so to talk about what we're going to review today and then go over is we're going to be entering into this new software called the back office. So I will introduce you to that platform. We're going to discuss adding corporate pledges. So if you get a local ice cream shop to sponsor your team, how can you do that? Adding your donation link and your team image. So if you've already registered in the past with our registration form, then you should be good on this. But if you need to change that donation link anytime during the rally or change your team's image, we'll discuss that. We'll discuss how to add a new writer to your team, pulling reports, and then a refresher on rules and prizes. So we've gone over this last week, but just a reminder, you can register your team at bluegoji.com/rally for the Y. What's different this year is we ask for your information like your billing account and routing number. So that way we can fulfill the donation after rally concludes and get your donations to you quickly rather than taking time, writing the check, sending those out, potentially getting lost in the mail. So if you fill out the registration form, we can go ahead and get you set up with our system called bill.com. Blue Goji will be donating again this year at 10 cents per mile. And we encourage you to involve your staff and your members. All right, so the former system. If you have had these bikes for many years, then you are likely familiar with the term bike manager. This is where you could go in and you could renew your bike subscription, or if you had a cyber cycle, you were able to add riders most of our YMCA's don't have CyberCycle quick login, so you can disregard that. But you could see your fundraisers and just edit your account info. It's pretty limited. There's not a ton to do here. And so we wanted to go ahead and change this system. And so you also had on the writer side, writers are able to log in the old system, espresso.com, and be able to see their writer data. So their progress throughout the challenges, beyond rally, even monthly challenges, and just their all-time stats so that they could track their fitness progress. So this is what you're used to, bike manager and rider profiles. Now, however, since Blue Goji acquired Espresso and we're trying to evolve things, this is the future of what you know. So instead of bike manager, we're now calling it back office, and that's going to be the same thing. It's just for a select number of staff members and owners. So this is not everyone on staff gets an account and can log in. This is who your YMCA sees fit as being a good manager of these bikes, or with Rally for the Y, if you need to bring someone in from the accounting department to have access to be able to see all these donations and the information, they might have access. But we usually recommend that to no more than 7 staff members. And we do realize that sometimes there are high turnover rates. So try and keep this to maybe upper management or people that have been there for a long time, but we can always add and remove people for you. So this is for staff and owners, is you see the back office. And then now for riders, we're going to be calling that the portal. So this is coming soon. It's really similar to what you guys see in the app, but there will be more features in both the app and the portal coming soon. And so what's new is that we have an app. Espresso never released an app, and so we're excited to be able to do this. We understand that most people are on their phones nowadays, so it's easier to see challenge data or track your fitness goals when you have it at the touch of your fingertips. So that is what's new. And just a reminder that we're being extra clear here. Bike manager is now called back office. And for the Rally for the Y, you will not need to log into bike manager. We actually want to prevent you so there's a few things that in the past you would have used bike manager for Rally. Those are now going to be disabled just to avoid confusion. And so what that means is if you were to go into bike manager and go the old process of trying to add a corporate sponsor in the ways that you've done in past years, that feature might be disabled right now because we don't want you to put it in there, because then it won't count on this new leaderboard. Everything needs to be through our new systems and softwares. And so back office, what we'll kind of talk about is how you can edit your donation URL, pull progress reports, add new members, and add corporate sponsors. So let's start with the basics of logging in. Where do you go? So for now, I mentioned this in the last webinar, we are trying to keep the launch of this a bit of a soft launch so that we can just focus on YMCAs and supporting you all through the rally versus launching it for everyone. And then maybe, new systems, we'd receive a lot of support and we wouldn't be able to give Ys the attention that they need. So it is accessed right now through this page, bluegoji.com/rally for the Y. Your team should already be familiar with this because this is where you registered and this is where you've accessed the promo kit. Now there's an additional button for logging into the back office. So when you click on that link, it'll take you to a login screen. And these are going to be the same credentials that you had with Bike Manager. So use your same login you've always done, and you'll be able to see the new system. And so when you do log in, it'll look like this. The dashboard reminding you that we are in a bit of beta testing. There will be more features in both back office, the portal, and the app that will be coming in the next several months. So there's going to be a lot more that we're going to allow owners to do in the future, hopefully, so that way you can really rally people beyond the rally and get them excited, make your own challenges, and really get your members involved with these bikes. But for now, we're trying to keep it simple so that you're just focusing on what you need to know for the rally. So if you're having any login issues, we just want to be able to set expectations. Problems that we would foresee would be your login's just not working, or you need to create a new owner account. So maybe you have a staff member that didn't even have a bike manager login as an owner, so you don't know what to log in with. Or you aren't seeing all of your organizations. So we know some of your staff members are at the association level and you have 3 YMCA locations that you manage. If you're only seeing one of the 3, please reach out and let us know. We're trying to go through all this and make sure everything looks good, but if there's something missed or there's a bug, please reach out to events@bluegoji.com and we will get that handled ASAP. And so rally management and what you need to know is when you go and you log in, you'll see this section called tournaments. This is what you will click on. So these arrows are going to be kind of walking you through the process. You click on tournaments, you will see rally for the Y25. This is actually a card you can click on. So if you click anywhere, click here. Oops, sorry, I went backwards, of course. Click here. And then you'll be able to see your teams. So if you only have one team, you'd probably be confused why this page exists. But if you are, like I said, at the association level and you manage multiple YMCA locations, they will all be listed here. So you can click on different ones. And that's because each location is a separate team that fundraises separately, is on the leaderboard separately. So be able to manage those details, we do so separately. So for us, we only have Blue Goji HQ. We can click on it. And then you should be able to see all of your supporters so far, or all your riders that have achieved supporters. Sorry. And so you'll be able to have this view. You could click here and say, okay, we have this member named Elise. How many supporters has she gotten? Because it says she's done 0 miles and has raised $0. So why would she show up? And that is because she did get a supporter, but it's a per mile supporter. And the rally doesn't start until February 1st. So you're able to see who's generating, sharing their links, getting supporters for your YMCA and what that looks like. And then, of course, you'll see the Blue Goji support of 10 cents per mile. So once she starts logging miles, then that will increase in the total amount that she's raised. So if you go back and you click on tournaments and do that whole process again, we'll be able to show you how to edit the team profile. So here we clicked on tournaments, we clicked on rally, we clicked on the org, and then we can click on this button team. This is just your team details and pretty much everything you should need to know for the rally, at least in these next couple weeks. So you, of course, can change your image. And please know that if you already see a YMCA logo in there, those were just randomly assigned. So to YMCAs that did the registration process and provided us with the donation link that you preferred, that our team's gone ahead and assigned you at random a different YMCA associated logo and has put in your donation link that you provided. So you can always change that, of course, with the edit button and add your own logo, or if you want something to have just your team's name. And then you can always update and edit the donation URL. And so we've already discussed this once, but I'm going to say it again because I know every year there is confusion, especially if people are new to the rally, is that our system simply tracks and helps you see, going back, helps you track pledges, but pledges are not donations. They are simply pledges and promises from supporters. And so we do not handle any credit card transactions. We do not handle the donation itself. That is for you as the organization, because as you know, with year-end tax reports, you're going to have to send out to all actual donors all the information that they need for tax write-offs. So we are not a full nonprofit system for just tracking activity and what potential that could have with a donation. So enter in that donation URL. That can be changed at any time. And so this was not implemented last week, but our team has been working through the weekends, working so hard to make sure that these features in this bill just keeps getting better and better for you all. And so now when someone goes through as a supporter and pledges to support, say if I am going to support Angie at either 25 cents a mile, or even I'm just going to do a fixed donation of $100. Angie can write as much as she wants, but I'll donate at least 100. So I pledge 100. Now within the thank you bar, it's going to pop up with that donation. So I know exactly where to go to make the donation to the YMCA. And so that's why this is very important to fill out. Otherwise, your supporters are not going to know where to go to fill their pledge into a donation. What is interesting about this is that for people that do a per mile donation, they won't know how much they're supposed to donate until obviously at the end of the month when Angie's done writing. So at the end of the month, it's really important for YMCAs and for writers themselves to be on top of communicating with their supporters as well. We'll hopefully have that all automated so that they receive a notification of how much they owe, but just know that it is the YMCA that really needs to push for making sure pledges do become donations, because we can't see your system at the end of the day. We don't know if Amy K actually fulfilled her pledge, and that's only capable by your accounting team or admin. And so there I go. I uploaded a new image. I added a donation URL. Then I scroll to the bottom and I must save the changes. If you don't save it, it won't populate on your page's profile. So adding a corporate sponsor. A lot of YMCAs, and we discussed this last time, successful YMCAs at Rally for the Y go beyond just thinking of the peer-to-peer fundraising aspect, expecting members to reach out to their family and friends. The successful YMCAs reach out to local businesses on behalf of all their riders. And the way to manage that is there's no online form that they fill out, because that does require a lot of communication. So some of your team or staff member has to approach the business and come to agreement on how much, set expectations, etc. So this is all done through the back office, just like it used to be done through Bank Manager. So when you're here and you're adding a corporate sponsor, you'll click on pledgers, and then from there, you'll click add supporter here at the top. And this layout right here is going to be, these are individuals that have supported. So any of your riders that have sought out peer-to-peer fundraising, they've gone to family and friends, those one-time, like those small donations are here. The donations that are going to be applied to your entire team, like the Blue Goji 10 cents per mile, are up top. So once you click add a supporter, it'll come up with a similar form of a fixed donation or a donation per mile. So here's just an example of me filling this out. The display name might be different then the name, because this might be your point of contact at that company, and then the company's name. You'll see in the next screen that right now it's still showing just the point of contact and not the display name. And so we're likely going to change that. So it's just clear on which companies you have. Fill out all their information and click support. So then the display name will eventually show here, and it'll be Baskin Robbins or whoever's, local to you. And their donation, they're pledging a generous $125 per mile, and that will be applied to every single rider that logs miles at your facility. And as you saw in that form, you could also do a fixed donation. So if your local run-on wanted to sponsor everybody, but they just wanted to do a set donation of $1,000 towards your org, you can do that as well. And something I didn't touch on here is downloading reports. We'll likely have a webinar once the rally has started, kind of nearing the end, just to make sure that everyone knows how to download these reports, so that you can either hand it off to your accounting team, or if your accounting team is within back office, they can access this. But it's these simple download buttons, and you'll be able to track everyone's progress and how much each supporter has pledged. So if it is 25 cents per mile, and then the rider does however many miles, it applies all that. So you know how much to follow up if someone hasn't fulfilled their pledge into an actual donation. All right, and some tips we have for reaching out to corporate sponsors. A lot of you are probably familiar with this. It might be things you already know, but if not, we recommend always reaching out to all previous corporate sponsors, because it's way easier retaining a sponsor, individual or corporate, than recruiting a new one. So always start with people that you've reached out. And maybe this is not just for the rally, but other events you've done, and which businesses locally are generous. So reach out to them first if you already have that relationship built. And then beyond that, just start to think what makes sense. If this is the first fundraising activity you've done around members actually being active and tracking their fitness as a form of their donation, then think of local fitness stores that you can reach out to. And always local is best versus going through a big corporation. And then we recommend communicating last year's success. So if you've done the rally, if you've done it many years, you could pull data on, what's your average rider count that participates, and how many miles are you guys typically logging, or how many corporate sponsors and who those corporate sponsors were. Maybe your local businesses will get competitive with one another and want to be, a premier sponsor. And this is a great way to set expectations, because a lot of these companies might want to say, oh yeah, we'll do $2 a mile, but that could add up pretty quick if you have a lot of riders logging a lot of miles. So set that expectation so that it is something achievable that your team proposes for them. And then you can pull that data from last year's leaderboard or any previous year's leaderboard from espresso.com. You just have to scroll back in the archive of challenges. If you've never competed in Rally for the Y before, you could still go there and see other teams' performance in the past, and maybe try to gauge who do you want to try and beat this year, or what's your goal, and then use that as an example to show local companies. So adding a new rider to your team. I want to make sure to hopefully be as clear as possible on this, and take a sip of my water. So something that is new this year is that existing riders do not need to register. So if they had already had an account by last week, then they are signed up for the rally. They don't have to press register anywhere. And this was because we wanted to make it easier for you. We had a lot of facilities having to put staff with an iPad near the bikes to help people register. because they would have members that have login accounts, but never officially registered. So they were riding miles in the month of February, but not getting the credit for those miles. So we want to make sure that everyone that rides on your bike can get that credit. And so the way that this is different this year, and I know I've had questions about, is that the leaderboard looks different. The leaderboard for riders is not as robust as it was in the past before the rally starts. And that's because it takes one of two things for a rider to show up on the leaderboard. They either need, and sorry, this says fixed pledge, but it's any pledge, fixed or per mile pledge. So they'll show on the leaderboard when they get their first pledge of any kind. And so why we chose to do this is we hope that it would incentivize riders to get supporters. So they'll show up once they get someone to pledge on their behalf. And hopefully that makes people competitive and want to show up before the rally even starts. And we hope it gets more people actually doing the peer-to-peer fundraising aspect of the rally instead of saying, oh yeah, I'll ride for the 10 cents per mile by Blue Goji, and not put in the effort of going above and beyond for your YMCA and really learning that mission, getting involved, getting other sponsors to support them. If they don't go that route, or if they don't get any supporters before February 1st, then they will show up on the leaderboard once they get on the bike and start pedaling. So that might be February 1st for some, it might be mid to late February for others. So this has limitations, and the fact that we are able to sign up all existing riders and register them within our system. But if you have a rider that came to tomorrow or in the middle of the rally and they are a new member, they've never been on the bike before, they do not have a login, and they want to create an account, or they see all of the rally promo assets and they want to get involved this year. But again, they've never been on the bike. They've never created an account. If they were to go to the rally leaderboard page and try to edit their pitch to start the process to get on the leaderboard, or if they were to start riding miles, they wouldn't show up because they are technically a new rider within the system. So if they were trying to edit their pitch, this little pop-up would show on the screen, and they're supposed to go to someone on their staff to make sure that they can be an actual participant in the rally. So how do you add a new rider to your team? Because that's important. You want to get everyone on board. We will have a suggestion, add an item to the promo kit, where it helps make this process easy for you. If people have a new account, they can let you know right away. But you can add people from the back office, and you do so by going to those ways I showed you, going to tournaments, to Rally for the Y, Blue Goji, edit your team. And then you'll see this section that we didn't touch on earlier. So this gives you all the members that are on your team. It's in alphabetical order. But if you scroll down, you see this section, add members. So if someone's created an account, they just need to get to you the screen name or their name in general, I believe. And so then you just type it in search bar. You'll see here, I started searching for my own name, and then everyone will show up, and you just click that add button, and then you'll be added to the team. So any new rider that joins in the month of February or next week, even now, will need to be added to your team. We will work on a process to see if there's ways that we can help you make this as simple as possible. But this is how you do it for now. So we'll keep you guys updated. So rules and prizes. There have always been the same rules and prizes that you're familiar with, but we'll review them just in case. So on the left, you'll see here that $100 type badge. It's already showing up on some people's profiles, and shout out to Cameron, who's already added a photo for his profile. We encourage people to do that. One of the easiest ways is to do it in the app. But you can also do it when you put out your pledge, I believe. But go into your app and you can add your photo of yourself if you don't mind it being public. And then you see all the individuals that have raised over $100 have already earned their badge, and the challenge hasn't even started yet. And so at the end of the Rally for the Y, we do have a rider lottery. So we go through this list and we have everyone's name that's earned their badge, and we just have a randomly generated number. And so we pick one of the riders that's earned their badge, and they earn for their team. So they do not get $500 for themselves, but they earn an extra $500 donation for their YMCA. But we do that twice. So we do that for all riders that have earned their badge. And then to encourage youth involvement, we also do it again for all riders age 20 and under, so that one youth member can earn that large donation on behalf of their YMCA. So this really encourages the YMCAs or the youth members to get involved and fundraise at least $100 to be in that raffle by the end. And then the team competition, we know you YMCAs are so competitive, especially with the rally. So the top fundraising team will earn an extra $500 donation from Blue Goji. I want to make that clear too, is that this is not about the team with the most amount of miles logged. This is the team that fundraises the highest amount. So it's number one on the rally leaderboard. We will then, Blue Goji, send you guys an additional $500. Rules. These typically apply to all of our challenges. We say no more than one rider ID or rider per ID. So we don't want 5 riders sharing the same login information. And that's for a few reasons. We have had in the past, because of those raffles and things, usually this is done at the university level challenges, but where people share login to try and go in at a higher chance of receiving that raffle for logging more miles. But we also have a bigger issue of we don't want the system to flag any rider ID, because we have put in place a logic within our system that recognizes what we call unrealistic or basically if you were to be pedaling at non-human levels. So if you had multiple people, for instance, riding at the same time on the same user ID, our system would flag it. How is that possible? Or if you were to find a glitch in one of the games and it increases your mileage with very little to no pedaling, then our system is able to flag that. So that's basically our system's trained to help avoid any sort of cheating, and it can throw out data just based on if it doesn't pass the parameters we've given it. So that's a big thing. Everyone needs their own login. And then for miles to count, the rides must be started and finished in the rally dates. To go back on the last point, one other reason why it's great for everyone to have their own login is for things like corporate sponsors. So if you're reaching out to a local business and they're mostly going to be concerned about exposure, like how many people do you have participate? And then for each person that participates, there's likely, 3+ friends and family members watching their participation and or contributing to it. And so the more riders you have, the more riders for your team to be able to promote to businesses. Hey, look, we have 500 people participating. That's pretty great for your exposure as a business. And so then for miles to count, they must be started and finished in the rally dates. This is pretty simple, but we do have some challenges that, they start at midnight and they end at midnight. So people might start riding the bike 5 minutes before midnight and continue through midnight, and half of their mileage won't count towards the challenge. That shouldn't apply to most of the YMCAs unless on the last day of the rally, your YMCA stays open past midnight Eastern time. So it's just basic information. You have to log your miles in between February 1st and the 28th. And then it seems obvious, but your bike must be connected to internet and you must have an eLive membership. Because if you're not connected to internet or not with eLive, then we have no way of knowing how many miles are being logged on your bikes. And so the system will update. And then in order to earn your donation from Blue Goji at 10 cents per mile, your team collectively must log 500 miles during the month of February. So that equates to about $50. So we will write a check, or we'll send the money as long as it's a $50 donation or above. And that 500 miles for everyone that participates is pretty easy to achieve. You have a whole month and all of your logged in riders to do it. We know YMCAs that can do that in a day. And so in the past, we talked about the resources that we have, and they're all available here for you to help promote the rally. I always say that a lot of YMCAs create their own materials as well. They might just stick to the branding, but whatever fits at your YMCA to tell the stories of impact and encourage people to get involved, go ahead and do it. I have had an issue with, for some people, the full suggested Amazon list that we've posted in places is not showing up. It's only showing like a couple of the items. So I will look into that today. But this is just encouraging you to put balloons around the bike or just draw attention to the bike area so that people know an event is going on. Now we do have some new resources since everything that was mentioned last week and this week. We want to make this as easy as possible for you to communicate to individuals. So one of that is downloading the Blue Goji app and making sure people know that there's an app now. And then helping riders, someone suggested this in the last webinar, so we threw it together, of how to join Rally for the Y. One thing I do want to touch on is that the Android app is still not available in the store. There's been a holdup with the Android app process. So as soon as that is available, that is when you'll be able to see the QR code login from the bike. We just want to make everything fair so that Apple users and Android users both have access to the app and the quick login. And that's this screen right here. So as soon as Android gives us a thumbs up and has the app in the App Store, you'll be able to do the quick login like this. And we'll keep you posted on that. So more ways to motivate. We went over decorate your lobby. Oh my gosh, decorate your lobby with visuals of impact. Have fun. That's our biggest piece of advice. What makes a fun and successful fundraising event is that your members want to be a part of it. So try and encourage them, throw in fun incentives or pizza parties, things to get them involved. And then maybe have something off-site if there is a local place for a meeting for dinner or a bowling alley for people that achieve a certain amount of fundraising dollars. Try and build that community with them beyond the doors of your YMCA. All right. That was a lot. So we're going to open up to a longer Q&A this time. And I do have Angie here with me. She's going to help me read those off. So I'm going to open the Q&A.
Hi, Casey. It looks like there is one question in here. It says the Espresso website has rally listed as January 31st through February 27th. Just confirming that it is February 1st through the 28th.
And Angie, will you put yours on mute? So, because I think it's echoing. Good question. I will see that it is correct. It might have been something within the system of Eastern time versus Central in the way the Expresso system used to do it. But I will get back to you on that. And I will make a note of that right now. All right, any other questions? Keep them coming. We'll wait for just a little bit. If there's no questions, that's great.
Yeah.
And if you are watching this webinar late, if you're watching the recording and you have questions, please send them to Angie and I, and you can do so at events@bluegoji.com. Do we have any more questions coming through, Angie?
Doesn't look like it. Oh, there is one from Diego. In the past, there was some marketing material like a tab that we could put on the bike. Can we have something like that again? Thanks.
Awesome. Yes. So we can do that easily, Diego. Those are kind of like the bike half sheets that would attach to the screen of the bike, I think is probably what you're referencing. We can create another half sheet so that you guys can adhere it to the side of the bike so people have the information right there. And if you do have the latest product model of the bikes, we do have the promotional banner on the left-hand side of the screen. And once the rally starts, we'll have information there too, pointing them to the app and where to download it, and any surprise type prizes we'll release since this is the 10th year of the rally. So that will update, but I will also put together a half sheet so that you can adhere something just physical on the side of the bike, because we know some people like that, just having something they can touch. And Diego, I can email you and we can chat about what all do you want to see on that half sheet. So. All right. Any other questions? You might even end early today. Okay, well, you guys go ahead, log into the back office. Let us know if once you're in there, if questions arise, and reach out. Most of you, I feel like, have my personal Blue Goji email or Angie's, but also, again, the easiest one to say is events@bluegoji.com. We are here, and like we said, our team is working diligently. We know that there is a lot of features we're excited to release in the near future within back office or the app. So we really appreciate everyone's patience as things are getting closer and closer, but are still a little bit testy. So just reach out if there's any major issues that you're unable to achieve through back office. And thank you all for attending today. Awesome. Have a great week.